AI has ruined everything.
The clients that WeHackHealth are at, they're using it to improve their work, improve their efficiencies, and improve their output.
I have probably overcorrected a little bit, and I was using it a little bit too much, but now I'm starting to learn where it's beneficial.
Just the space we're in, follow a lot of coaches. And one in particular whose emails I've been reading for 2 or 3 years, the last one I read was ripped straight from GPT, and I just unsubscribed.
It can take somebody who has 10 years experience and make them better versus somebody who's completely new that is trying to do what somebody who has X amount of years experience doing.
Learning to use this properly will amplify your skills, but learning to use it incorrectly will take away from your skills. In the coaching space, people are looking to outsource and make it easy.
If you write a summary, your emotion will be in it.
No,
if the client writes a summary, their emotion will be in it. The AI will write it as like, this is what happened.
Wow, I can send 1,000 DMs a day with AI.
The irony of running an online business and being coached online is what we do in terms of the events.
Which is probably the most inefficient thing you could do, by the way.
100%.
We're so busy, occupied of, can we do this? Nobody's asking, should we do this?
Yo, what's up? Welcome back to a conversation with myself and fellow coach, friend, mentor, mindset, mental resilience coach, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Today, we are going to talk on AI. The general consensus was that AI has ruined everything, and we just wrapped up our weekly operators table call with the cyber athletes, and it turns out it hasn't. So if you want to know more, stick around. Right, Shaun, so we've just wrapped up the Thursday operators table call. We're here for a very special episode, I guess, of that call. We went in with the thought or title of AI has ruined everything, and we wanted to get from their perspective in their world, like where they were at or where AI sat. And I think now that we're getting into this, we've realized that AI hasn't actually ruined everything.
No, not at all. Especially at the level where the clients that WeHackHealth are at, they're using it to improve their lives, improve their work, improve their efficiencies, and improve their output. With the caveat, these people know what they're doing and know where the pitfalls are and know how to navigate those pitfalls. And I think where we came in with the title of AI's ruining everything was not knowing where the pitfalls were, not navigating the pitfalls, and then falling foul to the pitfalls, and really seeing where it's strong and where it's really weak. And it was a really useful conversation with 10 people to get to the bottom of it.
They were speaking on AI of a level that I absolutely did not understand. I was like, oh, wow, we were in a completely different room. But I think we'll start with, like, I guess, where the thought came from on how AI has ruined everything, and, you know, almost as a where I've used it, where you've used it, and I guess what we learned on the call today. And for me, it was a hugely beneficial call because it was just getting an insight to what they see and how they think. And for me, it came about from a conversation with Dill last week, looking at just the past couple of years and how I've started to implement things with AI and what we're seeing online and what we're seeing other coaches do. And I guess almost like a pressure of I need to be also using this. And I think for me, it has come to the point where I have probably overcorrected a little bit and I was using it a little bit too much, but now I'm starting to learn where it's beneficial, what I can use it, what use cases it's good for, and where I can implement it that is going to be beneficial and not quote unquote ruin everything.
Yeah, I think a helpful launch point to be what led you to the topic of AI has ruined everything.
I mean, the full transparency is we looked at the data from the podcast over the past, I guess, 4 and a bit years. And we noticed a trend, a slight downward trend, a consistent slight downward trend from a very certain point just over 2 years ago. So we went right back and I was like, what is different here? Like, what changed? And there was a time that the software that I use to upload the podcast, so it goes to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever else, they released an AI tool, a co-host. It basically took the recording, it gave title examples, it gave descriptions and literally everything else that you would need as resources. And I could pinpoint it back to, I think it was like May, 20th of May, 2023. And there was a very stark difference in how the title was laid out, as in how I wrote it versus what the AI produced, and it was title case, so every word had a capital. There was also huge descriptions, and at that point you can literally see the trend. I was like, fucking AI has ruined everything. So that is what has led me here. I was like, what else have I overly relied on that people are now seeing? And I think potentially it's maybe and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but now, 2 years later, I'm starting to see the things that we were talking about noticing as, AI produced content that we're just completely ignoring. And maybe it is a case of, because of the level that they're using it at or how long they've used it, they recognize those things before. So it's understanding, for me anyway, that there still needs to be I write this as a human, so that people will know that human has written it, and it's not just the generic AI bullshit they'll switch off from. So that was the sort of findings of last week's conversation and what has led us to that call and this conversation. And
that's where I've noticed myself switching. Just the space we're in, follow a lot of coaches. Mm-hmm. And one in particular whose emails I've been reading for 2 or 3 years, the last one I read was ripped straight from GPT. And I just unsubscribed. So I'm not interested. I think when it came out initially, I was like, wow, we can do so much with this. This can do all my content, it'll do it. And then one of the things was discussed in the call is that I think you mentioned, Dave said there was a chart where it's like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't as incredible as we thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay, this is actually better than I thought it was initially. And now I can see more and more places.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I don't ever want to chase efficiency and lose effectiveness.
Fair.
I'd much rather be inefficient, but way more effective. Be that with a personal touch, be that with landing a message with someone. And it becomes ruining everything when I try and outsource the whole lot. When I try and create 3 Seans and half a Ben in my business, or you try and create 5 Bens.
Yeah.
And that's knowing to put those guardrails in place. As you say, like a Ben written email, I would read it all day long over, let's be honest, was it 2 years ago? AI was doing tweets for everybody. It was like, these are all terrible.
Yeah. There's loads of them, but they're all awful.
Yeah. So, give me one guy with a sniper rifle over 10 lads with a shotgun any day.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the human point is rather than AI. No, I do think I use it in my business every single day. There's stuff, it allows me to be more present. It allows me to know that there is something else taking notes that I can refer to. Mm-hmm. But I don't see it ever. I think it was one of the Jason said where learning to use this properly will amplify your skills, but learning to use it incorrectly will take away from your skills. And it's finding that balance of what helps and what hinders.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there in terms of the being more present. Instead of you and I having a conversation and I'm taking notes as you're writing and I'm not fully engaged in the conversation, I'm trying to catch up. There's an element of like, okay, I know that there are notes being taken that I can refer back to after, and actually I can just have a conversation with you and there's no like element of like that barrier. So I think that's a huge element as well. For me, it's looking at it from a perspective of like, I think you said it exactly right. It's like, what are the things that I can get AI to do that don't touch other humans? So like, what are the background things? Like, what are the automations that I can set up? What are the like the data markers? Like, what can I get it to do in terms of analyze data and whatever else, versus actually producing things like emails or tweets or content or scripts or whatever else. So it's looking at like where we can utilize it. And Thomas's point of it can take somebody who has 10 years experience and make them better in terms of what their output is, as in like what they can do and what their skill set is and what their experience allows them to do, versus somebody who's completely new that is trying to do what somebody who has X amount of years experience doing.
Which is, again, I was asking you how many clients have passed through or are within WeHackHealth, and it's in the region of 400. Mm-hmm. So your use of AI will be so far ahead of someone who has 10 clients and 3 months experience under the belt. And the risk is you try and get the 10 years experience easily.
Yeah.
And that it can't be got easily. You know, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. You have to get a lot of stuff you don't want to get the experience.
Yeah.
And then that gives you the tools.
Skip that bit.
Yeah, and then that gives you the tools to get the stuff you want. Initially, there was this feeling, especially with myself, of look at all this information I can gather. If some is good, more must be better.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. You know, it's like if the cake says a teaspoon of sugar, half a cup of sugar doesn't make the cake better. It makes it worse.
Yeah. And your diabetes.
Yeah. And where I use AI summaries after every call, I send them to clients. But as I've noticed, as AI improves, like, say, model 4.0 in ChatGPT, will give me a fairly succinct summary of the call. Model 5.1 tries to coach the client on my behalf.
Okay.
Here's what you should do now. And I have to say, do not give advice. I literally want to take away points from our call that I can send.
Yeah.
And that's, again, the risk. I don't want a sequential, not even thinking, but something that's taking my words and guessing the next words in the sequence, trying to coach a client. I think that's where it gets risky.
Yeah, I think the element of, if we take the, what you said about more information is better, there definitely has been multiple times that I've sent myself down rabbit holes and I'm like, right, I'm going to do this one task. And then I'm like, oh, I'll just ask ChatGPT about this. And then it gives me like 12 other things to do. I'm like, oh shit, I need to do all of these things first. And I'm distracted by all of the other things. I'm like, if I had have just spent the time doing the one thing that I set out to do, I would have got a lot more done. And it's almost thinking that, well, this thing's smarter than me, it knows more, I must need to do those things. And getting into that behavior pattern of like, fuck, right, I can't do anything without asking ChatGPT what the best way to do it is. And I think there's a lot of times, and I have seen it and probably have done it myself, where you ask it something and it gives you like endless amount, pages and pages, like 10 pages worth of information. And maybe you skim it, but you don't actually fucking read it. And, you either put it into something or you use it for something else. And it's like the level of taking the question, getting an overly extensive answer, and then actually not reviewing it yourself as a human is where I would see a lot of people. And like I said, if I hadn't have, I guess, caught myself on, I could have seen myself go down that rabbit hole as well.
But I think you have to, like in fitness, and you have to find your edge. Yeah. And then pull back a little bit. Like, okay, so this was too much. Yeah. This is overcorrect. This is now ineffective. Let's pull it back in. And everyone does that with most things in life. And we were, before we started, like, how does this become effective for someone listening? Mm-hmm. And it's, in the coaching space, people are looking to outsource and make it easy. Mm-hmm. And they're, like I say, Andy Frisell has a line that I absolutely love. I've stole it, used it 1,000 times. That value is created in the inefficient.
I think the story of that is whenever he first started First Form, he wrote a letter and put it into the packages.
To everybody. Yeah. And he says, the second I'll not give their name out because I still use them and they're a local company, but who I buy my coffee off used to handwrite a letter. Shaun, thanks very much for the coffee. Enjoy it. Signed, Ben.
You don't buy your coffee from me, just for me, but I do not sell coffee.
And clearly they got busier. So now it's a printed card with Shaun written on it. Okay. And every time I open it up, I think, guys, why are you trying to look like you care? Yeah. It's by slowing down. Andy says it so well. Like, if I send you a handwritten card at Christmas, Ben, great year, enjoy pick your leg up, have a drink, enjoy Christmas.
Something relevant to that person as well.
You're like, oh wow, if you get a generic printed card, thanks for 2025, you're like, who, piss off. Yeah. And that's, I don't ever want AI to touch my business in a way where people think, piss off. Mm-hmm. if I send an AI summary, I will always say, this is the AI summary from our call.
Yes.
I never try and pretend I sat and wrote that out.
Yeah.
Because one, I wouldn't have the patience to do that. And two, it would be my memory of the conversation.
Yeah.
So it'd be like me topless on a beach with a six-pack. That's how my memory works.
Yeah.
It's like, no, here's what comes up. And it's useful takeaways. And it's never given as homework. It's never given as, here's something you have to, it's like, here's the touch points from our call. Mm-hmm. It's very effective for me to take a client journey, start to finish. Where was this client when we started working together? Where are they at now?
Yeah.
And show that growth to the person.
Even with that, it's almost like the element of AI that would ruin everything is beneficial in that case. So if you think about it, it can't be human. It can't have emotion. So if you write a summary, your emotion will be in it. No, if the client writes a summary, their emotion will be in it. The AI will write it as like, this is what happened, no emotion. Like these are the facts.
And that's what I love about a client journey, because it's literally from the transcript. Here's where we were from the initial check-in form. Here's where we were at the beginning, and here's where we are now. 3 months, we're halfway through. Here's where we were 3 months, and we can still see there's room here. Look at this growth over here, and it's phenomenal to look at. Mm-hmm. And there's no way I'd be able to pull that out myself. But if I try and introduce an AI chatbot into Discord, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah,
immediately, and that's rightly or wrongly. If I see someone's media outreach or they DM me on LinkedIn and it's an AI abomination, my first thought is, if this part of your business is lazy and AI, mm-hmm. what does behind the paywall look like?
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it that far.
Yeah, no way in hell.
So this is I guess a complete tangent, but obviously thoughts and speaking from coaching perspective, like ManyChat and automation set around that, and everyone's losing their mind that now they've introduced that it can auto DM a new follower. Like I understand the thought of like, oh, this is going to be so cool because we can reach out to everybody. But is it
I fall into the Jurassic Park line of, we're so busy, occupied of, can we do this? Nobody's asking, should we do this? Yeah. Like that's, and even DMing people, I'm not a fan of the, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Because I know it might be 3 messages, it might be 10. At some point, they're asking for my money.
Yeah.
Just hit me with your sales pitch.
Just give it to me straight away.
Absolutely.
I know you don't actually give a fuck about me right now, but I might whenever you pay me.
Like, don't scroll through my feed, find out I've got 2 dogs and be like, oh, I've seen you like dogs.
Yes, yeah.
By the way, I help coaches go from, just tell me straight out, here's the problem I solve. Do you have that problem?
Yeah.
Because if I do have that problem, it might be worth the conversation.
Yeah.
If I don't, why waste each other's time?
Yeah.
But that's where wow, I can send 1,000 DMs a day with AI. It's like, wow, you've just burnt 1,000 people who might genuinely care about you if you slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, again, like being very conscious, especially with the nature of the people that I work with, like, they're savvy to it, like they understand it. And it's like trying to find that element of, if we think about the mission of WeHackHealth and the scale of that, mm-hmm. I'm only one person. So there needs to be ways that I can make that more efficient. So being smart about the ways that it can do the stuff in the background, but not take the human element out of it. And Dylan and I have spoken about this a lot of time, and I've seen even Gary Vee talk quite a bit about it. Like, he sees next year and the coming years, like almost a push back to the human connection side. Like people sort of detaching or deplugging from the internet or the virtual or the digital mm-hmm. world. And there's more value in the experience of like actually having a fucking conversation with people. And actually, even if we think about the digital interactions podcast, like, we can do those virtually. They're much better in person. Not because the content of the conversation or the quality, yes, will be better, but you can have a much better conversation with somebody in person because you can read a lot more because they're actually sat there. And also, they're not fucking distracted by whatever the fuck else is going on around them, or, they have the other monitor on, it's Slack's pinging and they're distracted.
My dogs aren't scratching at the room trying to get in.
Yeah.
Or scratching to get out. And if they're here, they don't annoy you, you can pick them up and they can be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
In case anyone's watching for the first time, what is the mission of WeHackHealth?
to set the standard for health and tech and cybersecurity.
Yeah. Right.
Which is a monumental task. And I am only one person. And, you know, I've looked at it time and time again, and I sort of joke, like, with the amount of check-ins and the amount of people, it's going to take me about 400 years to do that. So there definitely needs to be some element of bringing AI into it somewhere. And I think, you know, and again, like I'm quite transparent with everybody. The element will be being able to look and the automation side of, like, you know, being able to set everybody up, and it can build the Google Sheets and whatever else that still will have a human bit that I will need to do, or the other coaches will need to do. But being able to look at data. So again, like you're talking about an entire client journey. If I have a client that's, you know, 100 weeks into their check-ins, the AI element will be able to notice patterns in data, or like when this happens, that happens, or, you know, whenever there's high stress or low sleep, then we can see trends in, you know, falling off with nutrition or whatever it might be. But it still takes a human person to be able to articulate that in a way that, knowing the client as a person, will land. Being able to deal with people and, you know, deal with it as this is how this person will receive this well, and not just here's the fucking information, sort it out. So there definitely is that element in terms of looking at the data, the automation side. But I don't see a world that the entire thing will be able to be completely AI. Like I'm not going to be on the beach with a 6-pack drinking a margarita and there's some AI bot doing 1,000 check-ins every minute.
I don't want that world.
No, me either.
Beyond a certain point, the enjoyment of this comes from seeing people change.
100%. And it comes from, even, we did the, talking about Inefficient, we did maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did the recalibration calls, where I basically set up a call with every client. Now that's a fucking monumental task in itself. And even just like at the scale that it's at now versus being at the scale that, you know, it requires. The goal of setting those calls up was to recalibrate people, you know, reestablish what their why was, what their goals are, what they want to achieve over the next year, breaking that down into 30 days and 90 days, and having some sort of, like, you know, okay, right, we spoke about this. Here's your notes. Here's the slides. Here's the PDF. You have it. I can call you out on it because you said these are your 3 non-negotiable things. The true value in it, for me, was actually just having a conversation with the person.
Yeah.
Because yes, okay, they're maybe in the Discord. Yes, they do their check-ins on a weekly basis, but I'm just reading the sheet and either recording a video or typing back, or if they're on the group calls, there's maybe just like a very small part of it that's like, this is what's going on. They're maybe not fully willing to share because it is in a group environment, whereas actually just spending half an hour, 45 minutes talking to that person and actually giving a fuck about them. And I think
the word you said is like a human person.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned just before the call, or before this, that this is maybe an hour or 2 hours of someone's week, that we see them on a screen, or you see them, or there's a Discord conversation.
Yeah.
Like there's, outside of that, there's health, financial, marital, children, business, sick pets, all that goes on within the person, and that's the value of, let's go on a call and see where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. And even I said the example before, you know, I had a catch-up call with a client, and we were due to talk about, you know, what the plan is moving forward, and, you know, what we're doing for the rest of the year. And he just gave it to me, what was going on in his life and his frustrations. And he got to the end, he was like, I know this wasn't meant to be about that. And I was like, but this is what coaching's about. Like, this is the way that I phrase it is, like you said, everything else goes on in life. And I was very aware of this whenever I coached in person, because like you said, you know, say I coached you twice a week, I would see you at 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning and at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning or something like that. But there is all of the other hours that happen in the week that I don't see you live your life, and fuck knows what goes on in that. But there isn't an element of, I don't see another setting specifically in coaching where there is a set period of time, half an hour, whatever it is, that somebody's having a one-to-one conversation with you, and it is about you, and there's no distractions. So it's not like no notifications, no have to go and do this, no time. It's like we are in this hour.
And no biases.
Yeah.
Because anyone's family has a bias about them.
Yes,
anyone's friends
100%.
have a bias about them. You're just meeting someone where they are. There's no story layered on top of this.
Yeah. And I think the thing about that is, and, you know, the element of the group calls, and probably why we now have 4 group calls across the week, is whatever else is going on in their life, they don't need to wear that hat in that call. So whether it is partner, parent, business owner, CISO, whatever the fuck it is, they don't have to have any of those hats on. They can just come and be, I can just, even me, like, yes, I will have a coaching hat on, but there is sometimes I'll just be Ben. Like this is what's going on.
Conversation.
Yeah, just like an actual conversation. There's no expectations. There's no like, I need to be a certain way. And I think that's where the true value of being able to have those human conversations. And if I think like I said, going through those recalibration calls with everybody, they'll saw me towards the end of them. And I was like, I guess the pressure, or at least my thought on it is, say I'm having a recalibration call with you. You only have to do one of these.
Yeah.
I have to do nearly 100. I need to deliver the same energy in every single one. It's not like this is my 8th call. It's like, this is my only call. It doesn't fucking matter about any else.
It's a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
Might be your 3rd in a row, but it's this lady's first time ever getting married.
Yeah.
So you best turn up with that energy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, again, to take it a level bit deeper, of the irony of running an online business and being coached online is what we do in terms of the events. Like,
which is probably the most inefficient thing you could do, by the way.
100%.
But the highest value you bring to the community.
100%. And I think that's, even I spoke with Randy, and I know he won't mind me mentioning, we were talking about the events and sort of mapping out where they are for 2026. And again, in the nature of overcorrecting, I think probably in 2023, we did too many. There was, 6 main events and then like sub events that sort of happened within that. I think I went for a period of seeing Randy every month for 6 months in a row. And I was like, I haven't fucking seen anybody else in my life that amount of times. But understanding that there is an element of like, there is also too little, where there isn't that same, want to be a part of this because of that. So like, 6 may be too many, but 2 is too little. So where do we find the balance of like, how can we get this that everybody can attend? They're, I guess local enough that, people can make it, that they're not traveling halfway across the world, but they're not happening every month, because then that's unrealistic for me to do literally everything else that I need to do. But I think, like you said, getting everybody together and the friendships and the hugs when everybody comes in and the catch up and the fact that everybody comes fucking 5 days early for them now, like navigating and managing all of that, again, is something that AI cannot do that bit, like for sure.
And I think AI is well aware that the people listening to this are way ahead of us on this topic.
Yes. Yeah. My AI experience is ChatGPT. Sometimes I use Claude.
I can spell
That's probably about it.
AY. It's really good at information.
Yeah.
There isn't an information shortage.
Yeah.
There isn't, like, most people know the information required.
Yeah.
That's not the problem.
Yeah.
And that's where your coaching, that's where taking the time. I know people have 10 clients, wouldn't spend an hour a month with their clients.
Yeah.
Wouldn't, because they're too important.
Yeah.
But it's inefficient and it's valuable. And that's where you get to see the person. And I think that's, why we've gone from AI's ruined everything. I think it was actually a harsher word than that was used.
Don't know what you mean.
It is helpful, but knowing its constraints and knowing that even if it can in the future replace a coach, I'm not paying AI to coach me at any point.
But I Dave and I have been doing the weekly patch, where we each bring 5 things of like we found online topics, in health, fitness, tech, whatever it is. And the one that I spoke about last week was about there was a study done on AI apps or like coaching elements, and I think the drop off rate was 5 weeks. So the majority of people, 80% of the people have dropped off after 5 weeks. It's the same information. Like you said, it's not an information problem. Like you can ask me a question and I will give you the information that I have. Yeah. You can ask AI and it'll give you endless amounts more information. That's not the bit that people are missing. They need reminded.
There's nothing more expensive than a cheap coach.
Yeah, true. They need reminded, but they also maybe just need it spoken in a different way. Do you know what I mean? Even whenever Dylan and I are recording content, we're talking about the same thing, but we're talking about it in different contexts or in a different way. And maybe you've heard it 10 times, but then the one time either that you're in the headspace to actually hear it, or your emotion is in line with it, or just the words that I said, or the metaphor, or the analogy, or the story lands, that's where the true value of that comes in.
But that exactly, and that's like so the way my, for want of a better word, sales system is set up, is my sales system is you get a coaching call. And at the end of it, if you want to work together, beautiful. If you don't, beautiful. Either way, you leave with a coaching call. And most people are like, so what does the program look like? I say, well, there's no program. We meet and we talk. And by the way, it's almost all, I haven't held in, it's the same information I've given you for the next 6 months. And at some point through that, you'll hear it. And then you'll embody it, and then you'll live from that place. And that's it. And most people are like, okay, yeah, I'm in. But as you say, it was once described to me that it's all the same information. But if you take, it's the same steak, but everyone seasons it differently. And some people are going to like Ben flavored steak. Some are going to like Matt flavored steak. Some are going to like pick whatever coach. It's the same stuff, but everyone. And one thing AI maybe someday can. Some clients respond really well to a foot up the arse. Some respond really well to an arm around the shoulder. And at some point, those things will swap over.
But also the same person can respond to both.
I was going to say, at some point they swap over, but you need to know, okay, he's a foot up the ass guy, but right now he needs an arm around the shoulder.
And that's just that's the human
element. That's the human.
Well. Yeah. I think I guess the learnings from me on that is, number one, it hasn't ruined everything, but you need to know when and where to use it. And I think that, people are wise to it, and it's not allowing it to replace, or at least not allowing it to try and replace the bits that are truly valuable. Whether it is the call, or whether it is like even just if you check in on a Monday, a message on a Thursday, like what's going on, or like I remembered that you told me that you have this event on, or you've got this certification, or it's your wife's birthday, or insert whatever fucking thing you've got going on, like that additional. Actually, a story. I can't remember where we were. Specifically, but I remember being with Andres, and I was like, we can't go here for breakfast because you like cold breakfast, like you like yogurt and berries and whatever. I was like, how do you remember that? And I was like, I've coached you for 2 years. What do you mean? How do I remember that? He was like, but do you remember that for everybody? I'm like, well, I have a pretty good idea as to what people's preferences are because I fucking talk to them all of the fucking time. So like things like that I think it's just showing that you give a fuck. And I think that's where the value of a true coach comes in. If you use Matt as an example, like showing that sometimes there is just I give a fuck about this person, like, it's beyond the scope of what we outlined initially as the program or the deal that you and I have made, or the contract, or whatever way you want to phrase it. Like, I see you're trying to deal with something, and I'm potentially a person that can help you deal with it. And if not, maybe just a space that you can vent or share what's going on and feel better for it.
Yeah, with no advice, you just run.
Just sit in the mud with you.
Like as you're like, this was in I'm pretty sure a film, maybe a documentary, but it comes down to, I'm a human, can you see me? And most people aren't being seen. And if it's an information thing, AI will write your program all day long and twice on Sundays. It'll tell you what to eat. It'll probably give you your macros and that. Like, something anyone could do in probably double the time with a pen and Google.
Yeah.
But if you're a person, and at some point in the journey you're gonna, if you're assuming you're a person, a human being watching this.
If you're AI,
log off now, please.
But like, follow and subscribe just in case.
And get all your bot friends to do the same. So, something I've been learning more and more. I used to talk about it, and now I'm learning. It's like, okay, let's see if you actually follow the shit you say.
Yeah.
Life's gonna life.
Yeah.
It will. Play the game long enough, you're going to get life. That may look like sickness, death, challenges, financial, relationship, doesn't matter. It will happen. Yeah, I absolutely promise you. A good friend of ours is experiencing this at the minute. Life is lifing hard. That's what it does. Who do you want in your corner?
Not ChatGPT.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah. True. I think like you said, just understanding the person for being a person is probably the most valuable piece. The again, if we look at the events and we look at the calls and we look at, why does everybody still, we have banned the word community, but like you can't get that from a fucking robot. Do you know what I mean? You have the additional accountability, not just, even Dave says it, I had a call with him recently. I'm like, yo, bro, you've been fucking slacking on your check-ins here. Like, you're meant to be you're the 001 agent here. Like, what the fuck?
Patient zero.
And but he, he was like, there is that added pressure, maybe a word, but accountability of, if we see people in the Discord or sharing the hashtag or whatever, like they look up to other people doing it, and whether it is a case of, well, if they're doing it, I have to do it, or like, fuck, I didn't really want to do it today, but I can see Randy and Tyler and Phil and fucking everybody else doing it, then
people like us do things like this.
Yeah.
That's come up for me in probably every coach call I've had in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. When people are like, oh, how do I want to change? It's like, if you can embody people like me do things like this, people like us, people in WeHackHealth, we work hard, we protect the company, we look after, we also get our steps in, drink water, eat real food, lift weights, we have a bit of fun. Yeah, give a fuck about each other. Like, people like us do things like this. And that's the way it is. What if it's raining outside? People like us do things like this.
Get a fucking coat on.
Yeah. Well, what if I've had a really tough week? People like us do things like this.
Yeah.
And that's, the more that can be instilled, one, you're a part of something, but two, the simple act of doing that raises your self-esteem, raises the belief in yourself, shows that you can do these things. How's you feeling better? How's you living longer? How's you turning up at work more present? How's you sleeping better? How's you a better partner? How's you a better mother, father, son, daughter? Take your pick. People like us do things like that. Naive or not, I don't think you're getting that from a 5-week chatbot.
No, I mean, I have been in the depths of ChatGPT and hasn't given me any of that. But I think that, if we think about, obviously in terms of coaching, you and I do different things, but I think at the end of the day, the outcome is the same. So like, people will come to me because they think they need a program, or they need, fucking macros or whatever, or they need to lose weight, or they want to lose weight. But I think what it comes down to is they need to change their behaviors. They need to change their behaviors with the intent of changing their identity. And I said this on the podcast with Dave this week, like, AI can program your workouts, but it can't program your behavior.
No. And it's not, you don't have to eyeball AI and be like, oh yeah, I didn't do that because, which by the way is fine.
Out, log out.
Yeah. Just laptop
delete
closed. Doritos and Netflix, please.
Yeah.
But that, like, the goal, it's the James Clear, the goal isn't to lift weights, the goal is to become someone who lifts weights. And that's the process we're all following. Because that, like on that again, like on that topic, something I put into my group today was, and I'm seeing more, and I've talked to, the WeHackHealth folk, almost every call is like system improvement over self-improvement. If I have to improve myself, I have no idea where to start. Like, if I need fixing, where do you start? Like, nobody's ever looked at a tree, a plant, and be like, oh, that tree needs fixing. But yet we take it ourselves. Like, no, it's a series of systems. Okay, so my current system is take out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, chocolate cake Saturday night, and 10 beers Sunday evening. That's one system which will give me a certain set of results. And we're getting away from the AI stuff here a bit, but the more you can move to see that there's not any inherent fault in you as a person.
But I think that just to completely interrupt you, like, the system that you're following right now is perfect for the results in the life that you're getting.
That's it, all day long. And rather than, like, if you're watching this and you think there's something wrong with me, I need to speak to Ben so he can fix me. There is nothing wrong with you. Zero. You have a set of systems that are giving you a set of results. Ben will give you different systems. And a group of people, not a community, who will call you out on your own crap. And that's what it is. That's what WeHackHealth is for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know where we're at in time or if Dill has anything that he wants to add, but I think that's a perfect place to end it. No. So, I mean, if you're AI and you're listening to this, like, follow, subscribe. If you're a real, actual human, then join the cult. But thanks for listening. Any comments on AI or your beliefs or what you see or where you see pitfalls or what you try to avoid or areas that you're using? Drop them in the comments. Fucking send me an email, write me a postcard, whatever you want. But more to come on AI, and I'll catch you in the next one.